Hi, for this video we're going to take a look at what it means to find the theoretical or the classical probability of an event. Some textbooks call this the classical probability, while a lot of them call it the theoretical probability. This is in theory how many times you would expect to see a certain event. So this right here is always read as the probability of event E. And depending upon the situation, you could denote the event first like I did down here, and then put in there what just the letter to represent the event, or you could also put in there the probability of, say, selecting an ace from a deck of cards, and you can write it out in word form. So there's different interpretations and different ways of doing this. The formula to find the probability of event E, it's the number of outcomes in event E divided by the total number in the sample space. For this, or another way of looking at this, you could put the successes of the particular event that you're looking for over the total in the entire population. So, for example, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the theoretical probability of each of the following events when rolling a die one time. So event A is rolling a 6. So we would put down the probability of A is equal to, so we would have to figure out how many 6s we have on a die. Since we only have one 6 on a die, this is a simple event that it can only occur one time. Out of a sample space, there are 6 total possible numbers that you can roll. You can roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So the probability of rolling a 6 is 1 out of 6. In this case, it's easier just to leave it as a fraction, but it is possible to also express this as a decimal. So if it asks for as a decimal, you would just take 1 divided by 6, which is 0.167 approximately. Or you can also express this as a percent. This could be expressed as 16.7%. So this is the probability of rolling a 6. For the second event, it is no longer a simple event because this time it's looking for the probability of rolling an odd number. So this time we're looking for event B is any odd numbers. So if we look through, the possible odd numbers that we could roll are 1, 3, or 5. So there are 3 of them out of 6 total numbers that you can roll on a die. So you can leave it like this in probability. Sometimes we leave it as the exact value rather than simplifying. You can also write it as an equivalent expression as 1/2. This would also be an acceptable answer. You can write this as a decimal or as a percent. So you have a 50% probability of rolling an odd number. So again, it kind of just depends on the situation. It also depends on how or why you're finding this and what of the answers makes the most sense. Sometimes fractions make the most sense, sometimes decimals make the most sense, and a lot of times we use percentages just because people find that to be a little more intuitive. The last one is the probability of rolling a 9. Well, since there are no 9s, the numbers on a die are only 1 through 6, this is impossible, which means that you have a 0% probability. It is possible to have a 0% probability, 0 is included. That means that it's impossible to happen. You can't do it. If you had a probability of 1, that means that you have a 100% chance of that happening. Like if I said, what is the probability of rolling a number 1 through 6 on a die, then that would be a 100% probability because those are the only outcomes that you can have. So remember, with probabilities, they must always be between 0 and 1 inclusive. The closer the value is to 0, the less likely it is to happen. The closer it is to 1, the more likely it is to happen. As always, thanks for watching.